What is going on, guys and girls? How you doing today? It's Single Roleplay here once again. And it's this time again, guys. The new league is just behind the corner of the Ultimatum League. And honestly, I think that this league will be like the most depressing, least playable league among probably the last 10 leagues, because the patch was full of nerfs and there's no real buffs to the underused skills or something, you know, that hasn't been good for a while. So it's kind of depressing, and I don't plan to play the league myself. But if you're looking for the league starter builds, I can definitely help you with that. This league is about killing waves of monsters that are coming to you, more pretty much like the ritual or some kind of a mix between the breach and the ritual. So the more monsters you kill, the more waves you survive, the better rewards you get. So you gotta be rather tanky. At the same time, you need to have area damage and kill monsters at the edges of the screen. And this is what kind of builds you need for this, and this is what kind of builds I prepared for you guys. Let's take a look. Before we go further into the video, I would like to stop for a second and thank my Patreon supporters and Twitch subscribers. You guys are making a huge impact on my life and allow me to get going and continue creating content for all of you. Thank you so much. If you want to make it into the list and immortalize yourself on the internet, join Patreon to get sneak peeks and behind the scenes footage of my work. I'm always looking for feedback on my content, guys, in order to improve, so making sure you always leave comment, like or dislike. Your reaction is very important. And remember,
you, yes you, are making a difference.
the first build in the list is probably one of my most popular current builds, and this is the Explosive Trap and Flamethrower Trap Saboteur. Some people play this build like 4 or 5 leagues in a row, and they really just don't want to play anything else because it's so powerful and so exceptionally cheap. No one really cares about the skill as a whole, so everything including the helmet enchants is like worth 1 chaos. The gear is very cheap. The Tinker skin 6 link has been like 20 chaos for a while. So yeah, this is a cheap build and it packs tremendous amount of damage, and the AoE is like one of a kind insanity. The real pro of the build is definitely the AoE, and this is what we need for the Ultimatum League. We need to stand our ground, place traps around, detonate them, and shit just explodes. You don't even need to move anywhere. Just stand in the center, like throw traps everywhere, shit dies. The build also incorporates unique defense, which is stacking dodge. Dodge is quite hard thing to stack, but I went all in, and this is my only full dodge build, and actually it's fantastic build. It is surprisingly tanky for what it is, even despite very low HP pool and no real defenses outside of dodge. It is pretty cool, actually. I managed to face-to-face kill Cozies, and he didn't even scratch me. That was rather fun. So, Explosive Trap Saboteur, guys, definitely recommended. Another build on the list is the trustworthy, old, rusty, but working Essence Drain Occultist, guys. Also have the Trickster version there as well if you want to play Trickster for some reason. So why this build is so good and why people keep playing Essence Drain? You know, it actually does the job. It has fantastic AoE, it spreads the damage around with Contagion. You can stand your ground, shoot Contagion, shoot AD, and it just melts shit around. At one point, they decided that the AoE was so ridiculous and the spread of the Contagion and Essence Drain was so huge, they decided to nerf the amount of monsters you can kill with it because it was too broken. Literally, with one snot that we throw at the enemies, the whole screen died and exploded. So at some point, they kind of nerfed it a little bit, but it's still one of the kings of the AoE spreading, proliferating chaos damage. So it's still pretty damn good, and I'm pretty sure that assuming the nerfs that happen in the Ultimatum League overall, more and more people will be playing AD this time, and this is definitely one of the builds that I can personally recommend. Let's take a look. Another build on the list is my favorite poison build, and this is Pestering Strike Pathfinder build, which I created, I think, a year ago or something like that. The coolest thing about the build is it has kind of the built-in poison proliferation, so you can zoom around just a little bit, pop the poison, and shit just explodes and die around. This is a fantastic, and I think this is like one of the best, if not the best, poison skills in the game. The good thing about the Pestering Strike compared to, let's say, Cobra Lash, you know, and Venom Guy, for example, is that Pestering Strike has fantastic scaling with single target damage, so you don't need to switch to anything else. You didn't need to run like 2 different scales, one for clearing, one for bossing. You don't need it because one skill does everything, guys. The build is also exceptionally tanky because you stack evasion with the flasks and a lot of dexterity and all this shit. You have it like a ton of evasion, like 40,000 of evasion, and then you convert this evasion to the armor. So this is a super tanky against physical damage, which Pathfinder always lacking, you know. And this is very good for the skill because you are pretty much up close to the enemies. You need to be in the melee range to pop this shit. So very strong, very fast, and very tanky build, guys. Can highly recommend this. For the Ultimatum, this is probably the best poison skill you can get. Despite the nerfs to the Claws poison mod, because they nerfed the poison double damage mod, I'm very curious what will come in, in the substitute for this mod. They mentioned that there will be some other mod coming for this, but there's always, trustworthy Wasp Nest Claw, which still has the mod with double damage, and you don't need to craft anything. And honestly, Wasp Nest is more than enough to clear the majority of the content in the game, guys. No big deal. Take a look at this. The next build on the list is the Earthshatter Juggernaut. Of course, we needed some crazy melee build with gigantic fucking AoE, and this is exactly the build, guys. The AoE in this build is the king. The only thing that can compete is probably the Tectonic Slam, but Tectonic Slam has kind of a bit of a problematical single target. With this skill, the single target is there. It's not crazy, but it is single target. It exists, and it's enough to clear all content in the game. But one most important thing is it's a jug, and it's it's based on my old Earthquake Juggernaut build. It's pretty much the same setup, but Earthshatter, I consider it a big upgrade over Earthquake, because Earthquake was kind of a nerfed. It lost the Helm Shine for reduced duration. Now you need to run reduced duration on the 6th once again, which kind of depressing. So for the Earthquake, you need to balance durations. For the Earthshatter, you don't. You just pop the skill and you're ready to go. No, no brain pain whatsoever. Completely brainless gameplay, guys. So Earthshatter is like have surpassed Earthquake in my opinion in many aspects. So great AoE, fantastic tankiness of the Juggernaut, and I especially wanted to invest into tankiness in this build to make it really tanky, really solid. That's why I'm running the staff and block on this build. There's also Chaos Res AoE, a lot of stuff that makes the build tanky, really nice. So can highly recommend this, guys. Check it out. Another build on the list is the all trustworthy SRS Necromancer, guys. And if you don't know what SRS is, it's Summon Raging Spirits. Now you're probably asking yourself, what does SRS do in this list? Like, why did I select SRS, guys? One reason: waves of monsters, and guess what SRS do? There's flying ball sacks. They just fly in all direction and kill shit around. That's what they do. They don't really care. They don't need aiming. They don't really need any guidance. You don't even need to tell them where to go. I mean, you can do it. You can aim at something with the mouse and they go and kill them. But overall, they don't care. Just fly everywhere and just kill shit around. That's why you can be very stationary and very defensive. Stand in the center, keep casting SRS, don't give a fuck. They will do all the job. This is an all trustworthy build. This is also one of the only true hybrid builds that I did in my career of the PoE content, dude. So this is rather cool. It has around 8,000 EHP. Not many real defense, but I managed to kill even some delve bosses like Kurgal with this. Of course, I killed Uber Elder on other bosses. It was quite easy. I've been farming Uber Elder for a while with this build when Uber Elder was a big thing. Now it's not. So the build still does justice. It does a job, and it's one of those builds that just carry pretty fucking hard, despite you being a complete noob at the game. So if you've never played SRS, if you've never played minion builds, guys, I can highly recommend that. I think you will have a pretty good success. The build is also exceptionally cheap because not many people give a shit about things like Realm Ender Staff, which is like free fucking chaos. So the endgame weapon practically costs you like 20 chaos max in my opinion, so this is very affordable and cheap. And this is very nice, strong build. Take a look at this, guys. Another build on the list is one of my all-time favorites, and this is the counterattack build, which is called the Reckoning Gladiator build. The Reckoning is a counterattack which triggers when you block some attack. It kind of ricochets back to the enemy and just kills him with a couple of millions of damage. The coolness about this build, and it's rather passive, at the same time is rather active, because you're not only using the counterattack itself, you're also using a Cyclone here as the movement skill and also the damage dealer. As you can see, it's rather fast and it's pretty devastating. The build has been pretty severely nerfed at some point. It lost a lot of damage, but even after the nerfs, it's still doing like 5-6 million of DPS in my opinion, which is more than enough to kill most content. I tried killing some bosses after the nerfs and it was absolutely fine. Before the nerf, it just one-shotted. Well, actually, bosses one-shotted themselves over me, but now they kind of takes maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds to kill them over my block. So it's a lot of fun, guys. One of the coolest builds ever. If you've never played the Trigger counterattack builds, definitely check it out, guys. It's a lot of fun. Let's take a look at the next one. Another build on the list is a very cool variation of the Zombiemancer, and it is actually a full chaos conversion zombie Chaosmancer, because it uses both zombies and spiders. At some point of the game, zombies kind of became the pretty big meta, but I was not really interested in just playing yet another Zombiemancer build. I wanted to create something unique, and I came up with this idea to blend both spiders and zombies, because they kind of scale from the same damage. They both deal physical damage. So what I did is I took their physical damage, fully converted them to chaos, and it was an absolutely devastating build. It is also one of the fastest and tankiest build because, you know, you can invest heavily into HP. Like, for example, I had 7,000 HP, some defensive flasks, so I can hide behind my zombies. And spiders are just absolutely broken still. They fit perfectly with the Ultimatum League because they constantly run ahead, everything, and they are unkillable. They have no HP, they can't be killed. So there's 20 absolutely devastating little spiders, absolutely destroying everything, everywhere. They just go off the screen, just looking for these monsters, just absolutely eating them to the fucking bones. And this is actually one of the reasons why I selected this build for the league, because we really need to look for these monsters around the screen. You don't want to spend time, you know, walking around this circle, this kind of ritual thing, and look for this little monster, trying to catch him. Let the spiders do the job. Even though that the build is kind of old, it's still perfectly functional, even without any cluster jewels whatsoever. So, guys, can highly recommend this if you've never tried spiders especially, and the zombies, definitely check it out. The last build that I want to show you guys is the Frostholt and Ice Snower Assassin build. And this is actually one of the most favorite builds of the Mathil, as far as I can remember. He made it to like level 99 or something on hardcore with this variation of the build. So yeah, I know that he likes the build. He probably will be playing it sooner or later too. What I did with the build is very unique, because not only I been playing energy shield version of the build, I managed to stack over 10,000 energy shield, actually over 12,000 energy shield in this build. I also managed to save Frostbolt damage. So what happens with this build, which most people do, is just they completely give up on Frostbolt. They just use it as a trigger to cast more Ice Novas. But what I did, I actually managed to put all damage, like separated the damage between the Frostbolt and the Ice Nova. I have damage everywhere. So not only I can pretty much one-shot everything on the screen with the Frostbolt, I can also obliterate bosses with a self-cast Ice Nova on top of the Frostbolt. So this build that I did, I think, is rather unique, and I really wish it had more love whatsoever. Can definitely recommend this, considering we'll be killing waves of monsters around, guys, and this is one of the perfect builds for that, especially, like I said, with the Val Ice Nova reduction, which is 2 seconds now in between the time you can start gathering souls. I'm pretty sure people will spam this shit like crazy. And this build is also unique because it is a self-cast version, doesn't use Cosplays, it doesn't use Cox, it doesn't use custom crit. It's absolutely fantastic self-cast, true caster experience. If you've never played something like this, definitely check it out. So that's it for today, guys, and that's it for my selection of builds for the Ultimatum League. I hope you guys you'll find these builds useful. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.